Hey everybody, this is Dark Lord Fish Monkey, and welcome back to Saturday's Just Chatting. I figured that in light of recent episodes, specifically two, in which the time and also the continuity of the episodes is thrown around a little bit, I should possibly offer not really, I would say, an explanation, although that's what it is, but more of just like a interesting little tidbit about the computer that I have at the moment. So, this computer that I have is relatively new. Not like extremely new, about a year old. The last computer I had, I actually broke by spilling a bowl of cereal on it, which shows you about how well I am at working with electronics. Um, but yeah, the computer I had before was essentially for nothing more than school. That was its entire purpose. And honestly, my parents got it, and I agree with their decision to give me a computer that was rather limited in its capacity. I personally don't really think that younger kids should have electronics. Period. I don't think that it's really that good for them. And I mean, there's studies and whatever. There's studies to back anything really, but like when it comes to young kids having computers, I really don't think that it's a good thing. I feel like it's there's a good chance that the computer, the tablet or phone or whatever is going to end up raising the child more than the parent's going to end up raising the child, and so the kid's going to imbibe whatever values they see on the screen, and that doesn't always go well. But anyway, the computer that I had uh, that broke. It wasn't particularly good. So this time for I wanted to get a new computer, and I but because I was going to college, I wanted to get a good computer, one that I could do things on that was a little bit more. I wouldn't say like top tier. Like I definitely didn't do that, but was had at least some capabilities with graphics or whatever. So I I bought a computer, and because I wanted a better computer, but also wanted somewhat cheap, I got like a used computer, which not unusual. So we get the computer, and it works. It is a perfectly functioning computer. And I've done all the recordings that I've done so far on said computer. But the thing about it is that it has this weird thing where I don't actually know what causes it. Me and my dad have been trying to figure this out for a few for quite a while now. But every once in a while, my computer just shuts itself off. I don't know why, and it's like it usually when computers crash, like they log like this is what the issue was. The log that my computer gives as to why it crashed, the explanation that it gives is that it doesn't know. It essentially, in computer terms, says we don't know why the computer crashed. It just did, and yeah. So for the past year, that's sort of been my life with this computer is just learning to deal with a computer that crashes occasionally. The weird thing is, it only crashes when it's plugged in. When it's not plugged in, it seems perfectly fine. Again, it makes very little sense, and I don't know why or what is going on. But uh, there you can sometimes circumvent the crash if you unplug it in time, but it's kind of rare for me to actually get that opportunity. Sometimes, like you pull the plug, it's also inconsistent because sometimes you pull the plug out and that just instant crashes it. Like it just decides, nope, we will shut off now. Please, thank you, and screw you. Now, that is one issue, and that would be annoying if that was the only problem. But that's not the only problem. The other problem is the complete reverse of that, what I call the whiteout, where my entire screen just turns white suddenly, and then everything reloads, but it's slow as it's slow as heck, and just everything seems to stop working. I don't know any other way to explain it. Just things stop working whenever a whiteout happens, where it tempts me. It's like taunting me with the fact that my computer is still on. It's still on and I can still access everything, but nothing is working. It's so frustrating. I don't know what it is. But either way, those to happen occasionally whenever I forget to unplug it before recording, which has happened twice now, where I had my computer plugged in during recording, and so it failed. That's the long and short of it. But I haven't, as I said before, we don't really know what causes it. I have a few theories or and such where I think it obviously has something to do with the power cord or the battery, because when it's not plugged in, that's when it doesn't crash. So my sort of pseudo hypothesis is that maybe the computer doesn't think that it's plugged in, and so it's technically charging, but it doesn't think it's charging, and so it crashes or it shuts itself off like it normally would when it runs out of battery. But because it is technically plugged in, it doesn't give any warnings or whatever that that's what it's gonna it's running out of battery or something. I don't know if either of those are true. Those are just my tentative theories, shall we say. But yeah, computers technology just in general, and do not get along, and me do not get along. I've never been good with technology. I've never really liked technology, mainly because I'm not good at it. So honestly, that's been part of this whole YouTube thing, is me trying to learn how to use computers properly. Because I I can use them on a baseline level where I'm pretty good at figuring things out. So fortunately, it hasn't been too much of a hurdle. But the whole the whole trying to work with the computer and trying to record, trying to mesh together the audio and video, trying to figure out how to use games. Those have all been really really weird. Trying to figure out I think mainly my issues with the YouTube thing come with more just I'm trying to get better at you know us riffing off of what's happening in game and improv and whatever to try and talk normally. But yeah, I can't say that I'm doing it with any particular fluency, if that's the right way to put it. Honestly, though, when it comes to something like my computer and me trying to work out how to use it. It's interesting because it is kind of fun to try and learn these things. I will admit I'm getting better at using things like technology as I progress with this. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't think I'll ever like it. I'm not a complete anti-technology person or whatever. It's just that I feel like a lot of times it's people are way too addicted to stuff like this, and I admit that I am one of those people. Like that's part of why I don't like it is because maybe it's just I have such an addictive personality or whatever. But things like computer games, my phone that I have now, the or even just the YouTube, it has an addictive quality to it that I just don't trust. A lot of a lot of people. I mean, it's not like, at least from my experience, nobody seems to deny it. It's not like anybody's like, no, the computers are not addictive. What are you talking about? Everybody kind of agrees with it. It's just that very few people seem to care, and that's sort of problematic to me. Where it feels like this is definitely something that we should pay attention to, or something something is slightly like it's not like addictive in the same way I guess as other more chemical addictions are. But either way, with screens, I do feel like there's definitely some danger there that should be looked into, and maybe people have. I haven't looked in to see if there's studies. This is just my own personal opinion. But with technology being what it is and my experience with it, it eats up so much time that I could be spending doing much better things. And like the I mean the YouTube honestly is kind of I want to say an outlet, like a way to fuel my screen addiction into something that is productive in a sense. Like I wouldn't call it productive in the same way as say I don't know, like work, something like that where you actually get something out of it. But it is productive in that it gives me some form of motivation, something to try and move towards. With with everything that I do, I do try to use some temperance in it. I'm not a, as I said, I have a addictive personality, and that could be something of a cop out. I'm not blaming. I'm not trying to remove blame from myself. I take full responsibility for actions that I commit with this. I know that even though sure it's addictive, it's still my decision to do these things. But with screens and whatever, I really don't like that. Even though I'm vehemently against it, it's still sort of seems to take over my life. Ugh, I mean, I know that's a negative way of looking at it, but I do want to do something. I don't know. Either way, hope that you have a lovely rest of your day. Try and go outside, do something that's not on a computer, and hasta la vista, and always remember the fish.